Okay, so there is something absolutely massive happening in the United States right now. We're seeing unprecedented protests sweeping across all 50 states. I mean, from New York to California and pretty much everywhere in between. The scale of this is truly historic.
Get this, an estimated 7 million people are on the streets. And to put that into perspective for you, this is already one of the largest protest movements in the entire history of the United States. And if you listen to the organizers, to the people there, it's all directed at one person, President Donald Trump. All right, let's really dive into this. What is the one core message that's uniting millions of people from totally different walks of life? Well, to get that, you just have to look at the signs they're holding up.
This right here, this is the central slogan of the whole movement. You see it on posters, you see it on banners, there are entire websites dedicated to it. It's a really simple phrase, isn't it? But it cuts right to the heart of why all of this is happening right now.
What you're hearing from protesters is that they've just had enough of what they see as Donald Trump behaving like a monarch. Their argument is pretty simple. A president in a democracy shouldn't have absolute power, and they believe his actions are a direct threat to the country's founding principles.
So here's the thing you've got to understand. For these millions of people, this isn't about just one specific policy. It's way more fundamental than that. It's a conflict over the actual role of a leader in America. It's about whether the country is a democracy or a kingdom.
Okay, so you've got this massive wave of protest. You might expect a leader to, try to calm things down, right? Offer some words of unity, or at the very least, acknowledge the concerns of 7 million of your own citizens.
Yeah, that's not what happened. Not even close. Instead of de-escalating, he went straight to his social media platform, Truth Social, with a post that critics say was basically designed to provoke people even more.
He posts this AI-generated video, and of course, it gets a ton of attention, fast. And in it, he's shown sitting on a throne, wearing a crown, a direct nod to that whole king theme of the protests. But it's another detail in the video that really caused the firestorm.
In the video, well, it shows what look like droppings falling from the throne onto the people below. Now, this imagery was immediately interpreted by his critics as a message of pure contempt, and, you can imagine, commentators were quick to point out how unusual a post like this is for any world leader.
And look, this wasn't just some one-off thing. The president has actually reinforced this message more than once, openly embracing the exact title the protesters are rejecting. He's really leaning into this king persona that's at the center of all the controversy.
But while that whole "No King" slogan really captures the political outrage, it doesn't tell the full story. There's another, more immediate kind of pain that's fueling all this unrest. One that's hitting people right where it hurts, their wallets.
So you've got this big symbolic fight over democracy, for sure. But what's really pouring gasoline on the fire is just how much financial pain people are in. And this isn't a left or right-wing issue. It's a problem that's hitting almost everybody.
And the scale of this problem? It's just huge. A staggering 75% of Americans, according to recent polls, say they are struggling with soaring prices. The cost of living is just going up, and people are really feeling that squeeze.
And what really adds to the frustration is this huge gap between the promises and the reality. Trump had pledged to lower the inflation he blamed on the last administration, but it's only gotten worse. He promised a jobs boom, but recent data shows growth is incredibly weak. On top of all that, the country is now facing a long-term government shutdown, with arguments over how to even pay soldiers' salaries. So, it's no surprise that all of this is hitting the president's approval ratings, and hitting them hard. His approval has dropped to just 44%, while a clear majority, 52% of Americans, disapprove of the job he's doing. And let me tell you, for a sitting president, that is a really, really low number. So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, you've got the political rhetoric, you've got this severe economic pain, and a whole series of controversial policy decisions, you start to see this image of a nation that is deeply and maybe even dangerously divided. And it's not just some vague feeling of economic anxiety. People are pointing to very specific policies. Many are concerned about a foreign policy that seems to be straining old alliances, and about tariffs that are directly making things more expensive for everyone. There's also real uneasiness about the government buying up big stakes in private companies, which critics say is a move that consolidates state control over the private sector.
A lot of political analysts are talking about this feedback loop, this cycle of division. The president's posts really fire up his base, but at the very same time, his
his opponents say they feel alienated, like their own leader is actively working against them. This just deepens the national split, and it leads to a situation where critics argue the president is acting like he's the leader for his base, and not for the country as a whole.
So here we are, millions of people on the streets, an economy that's really struggling, in a political climate that's just toxic. The United States seems to be at a critical point, and it leaves everyone, both inside and outside the country, asking the same massive question. When a nation gets this divided against itself, what in the world comes next?